Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Oh gosh, here we are again, gathering to celebrate our third multi-author book, Wounds to Wisdom, our authors. I am so excited and so grateful. Hi, Tina. Always here. I love you. Thank you. Cheyenne, everybody. Oh, exciting. Wonderful. So we're waiting to interview the beautiful Rachel. Rachel Watkins is coming to join us. I am really looking forward to sharing with her. This has been a really fun time interviewing all of our authors because we get to share about the journey, we get to share about what this experience has been like, and really what has brought them to this space of sharing vulnerably and sharing their story and what that story and what that sharing has supported in each and every one of their lives. Hi, Rachel.
Hello, happy
How are
Monday.
ya?
I am well. How are you,
Welcome.
Sandra?
Oh, so good to see you.
You too. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me.
Oh gosh, my pleasure. I love every time we talk, we say, we'll just talk about, it's a 5-minute call. The last time we did that, we were on the call for an hour. So it's my joy.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. This is so exciting. It's just this whole weekend has been like, oh my gosh, this week it's coming.
It's coming.
Yes.
It's coming. It's so exciting. You know, the whole process is always so much fun, and every little bit of it is, its own little process, and own part. And that's why I love to do the process and run the process this way. It's like, I want you to enjoy each and every part of it because each of it is just, like peeling the onion and really getting into our joy, into our comfort and not so comfort zones. And then now the celebration and the sharing of all of it with the world. Like everybody's going to get to read it.
It's such an unfolding process from the first week until this week, launch week. And it's just layers, like you were saying, that at the start, you have an idea, but you're not necessarily sure. And then you get there and you're like, wow, that is what's happening. And now we're here at the end. And it's just the emotions, the feelings, the vibration, it all transforms through the process. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And then the end is really like the beginning because we've gone through the whole process. We've gotten clear. We've told our story. We've written it. We've reached this accomplishment. We've spoken about who we are and what we're about to share with the world or what we're going to continue to share with the world. And now we're putting it out there and celebrating it and also connecting, right, to our service even deeper.
Yes. It's really a coming out of hiding is what's happening when you do something like this. Everybody has these stories and they all live within us. And, we keep them quiet. We share them with maybe close loved ones or friends, but we don't always have the bravery and the courage to step outside of that. Because what I've realized in my life, and especially going through this process, is that there's a lot of people out there that need to hear these stories because they resonate, and it's important to get the message out there and to let them know that what's on the other side of the story that they're telling themselves isn't as scary as they think.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God, I love that. And also, not only are we inspiring others to share their story, but it's to share their story with the purpose of sharing, the possibility of the healing, the possibility of stepping into your purpose, the possibility of also serving. So almost, a blueprint of, you're not just sharing your story. I mean, yeah, Rachel, your story is amazing. And you've and you have many, but you're sharing your story with a very specific intention of what you want. What's that outcome that you want for those who are reading your story, right?
Yes, because it's possible. It's possible for everybody, and when you read our book, if I could go into this a little bit, Sandra,
Of course, please.
the stories are so vast and wide. There is trauma that is in some of the stories that are included in our book, Wounds to Wisdom, that will just have you gasp and really just heartbreak, for the author and for that person and their experience. And then there's also stories that maybe it's not trauma in the way that you're thinking of, like abuse, physical, mental, emotional, but it's a transformation of someone who was dealing with something very very sensitive to their heart space, that there was no physical trauma. There was no, those types of things that we think
Right.
of when we hear that word. And so some people, I think it's fair to say, feel my story isn't that bad because I haven't gone through this. But if it's affected you on any level, there is something there to be healed. And that is the purpose of this book, is to really allow you to witness. There are so many stories, and there is healing on the other side of that if you allow it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, with that healing, what is possible? Because once you heal those traumas, and again, the healing is forever. This is not, oh, wow, I did the work. I'm healed. Wow. No. So, got news for you. It's not. But you do heal certain parts of your, those traumas that maybe hold you back from doing certain things or stepping into certain spaces in life and in your service. And also, having that confidence that you have these gifts, but because of these traumas, like you say, not always have to come with a black and blue. It comes with, something inside, something that someone just told you or you believed that you are wrong and you will never again do that. And it's a misunderstanding, it's a misconception, it's that there are things that just weren't meant to land as trauma and does, right? And so it really does hold us back. And after we kind of just shine a light on it, share the story, heal from it, then here we are, these confident men and women that now have one less obstacle in our space to go and serve. And again, I keep speaking about service, and it's, you don't have to be a healer or a facilitator or, anything like that to serve. Service is, meeting, the next person that you meet and sharing and moving with love for them and holding space for them as well. So
Service can be as simple as giving a smile to someone when you walk down the street.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you really brought up a great point about, holding what holds us back. And that was something that came out in my story, is that I was the one that was in my way. I was the biggest challenge, even though for so long I thought it was this person or that person.
Yeah.
And when we get out of our own way, amazing and beautiful things begin to unravel before us, and the path becomes clear.
The path becomes clear. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I love that because it's true. It is so true. The path becomes clear. There's no more denying it, and there's no stopping you. I was talking to somebody the other day about, we try things and we do things and sometimes it doesn't work out. It's very easy to just kind of give up. But when you find your path, there is no obstacle that gets you to quit or stop or not do it anymore. It's just like, all right, this didn't work. What's next? And that's
Exactly.
really the exciting part. That's when you're in on the right track, is when there is no alternative. You're not giving up on this process and in this journey.
Yes, exactly. Well said.
Thank you. Thank you. So with all of that, oh my gosh, we went right in as per usual.
Yes.
It is like, Rachel Watkins, would you please introduce yourself and share a little bit about yourself with everyone?
Thank you. Yes, I know that's just what we do, Sandra. We jump right in. It's
I love
a
it.
it's a coming back to family, really.
Yeah.
So, thank you for having me. My name's Rachel Ann Watkins, and I am an intuitive and holistic health coach, as well as a tarot reader, yoga practitioner, and Tao Healing Hands certified practitioner as well. So lovely. I was a physical education and health teacher for 15 years. I was teaching in the public schools, and the cosmic deck was reshuffled in 2020, and it presented my family with some decisions that we needed to make that weren't easy. And we were guided, I should say, we weren't asked, we were very much guided to make a transition and to move to a different part of Colorado. So I ended up resigning from my teaching career, which held some grief behind that.
Mm.
15 years is a long time. I taught a lot of students. I mean, the students that I taught my first year are often adults and in society now, which is like, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. But my soul definitely guided me to where I am today, and the path continues to unfold as it always does. And as Sandra so beautifully put, just because I wrote a book and am part of this amazing project doesn't mean my healing journey or journey is over. It will forever continue. And I'm just really excited to see what keeps opening up for me. The opportunities that are coming in are just amazing and beautiful. And that is who I am and what I'm about.
Mm.
I'm the founder of the Live Your Raw Life platform. I have a podcast that started in March of 2020, and it just it's a snowball that's rolling downhill, and I can't stop it. And I don't want to stop it because it's so much fun.
That's so exciting. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that podcast because I know a podcast is not an easy feat. It's not something easy to start. It's not an easy thing to continue. Like, it's daunting. Like, I thought about it many, many times, got my microphone, have it all. And that's a tough one. That's a tough one. So for you to be still on this journey and on it, and I can't wait to be part of it.
Yes,
Um,
coming in January. Yay, Sandra.
Um, that is such an accomplishment. Like, honestly, well done, well done, well done.
Thank
Nice.
you. Yes, I love sharing stories. Those that know me best know that stories is my favorite thing. Hearing other people's stories, sharing crazy, wild things that have happened to me. And so a podcast was just very natural for me. I love to chat and share, especially highlighting others. And that's a big part of the Live Your Raw Life podcast, is sharing others and their work. And yeah, it is initially it's a big feat, but once you get into it, it's really amazing. Yes.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So
Thank
good,
you.
so good, so good. And I can relate to the shift from, being a teacher and identifying as this person that nurtures in this specific way, right? Because the attachment is more of the nurturing aspect, right? That connection and how we move and how we again serve and are validated, and then to shift that and give that up is huge. It's just like, when your kids grow up, like mine are now adults, and it's a completely different dynamic. It's a completely different conversation. So I get that. And that's another amazing thing that, you made the choice, you've moved on, you had to do this, and ready for the next one.
Yeah.
Ready for the next one. Ready for that snowball. I love it.
Yeah. Yes.
So tell us a little bit, Rachel, about the title of your chapter and a little bit about what you write in your chapter and who you've written this chapter for.
Yes, of course. So the title of my chapter is Free to Live Your Rich, Authentically Aligned, Wholesome Life. And I wrote this chapter for those that have those people in their life that they know love them, they know care about them and want what's best for them, but they unknowingly are contributing to allowing them to move forward in their truth and in their dharma and live their mission. And I wrote this chapter, and it's a very, and I've been talking about this on my social media because it is very vulnerable. It is a
Yeah.
very sensitive
Yeah.
story. It's a story that I've carried with me for a very long time and very much held myself as the victim up until a number of years ago when I was finally able to turn that corner and realize that this was all for my good and highest purpose. And the chapter is about losing those that you feel are the most dear to you and that you love the most, and what life looks like when you do lose those people, whether it's they've passed on or you have made the conscious choice that you need a break from certain energy or different things like that. And so that was what my chapter is about. And it was interesting. I had so many stories that I could have chosen from. And as your process guided us through this, it's what came out. And I was like, well, okay, I guess we're going to go here. So no more hiding, no more no more playing the victim, no more blame, no more guilt and shame, but just sharing, just because I think that the topic of my chapter is something that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that the conversation is started.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. Those conversations that, there's one that I have, in my soul that I know needs to happen. And that feeling of resistance, that feeling of, oh, God, I really don't want to have this conversation, or, oh, I don't want to face this. But just knowing or imagining that sensation of after the conversation, that relief, that release, that clearing, because also there's so many assumptions, right? We
Yes.
assume so many things before the conversation has even happened. And so the again, another way to heal is to just do it, if it's sitting and it's in you and you feel it and it's something that comes to your mind more times than others, then it's definitely the one that we need to have.
Yes, and a quote from my chapter is, as my heart crumbled to the earth below me, a feeling of relief washed over me. And that's what you just said, was
Wow.
exactly that. Is, even though it's hard and it's challenging and it's heartbreaking, sometimes that relief and the release and the letting go is what is necessary for everything else to open up for you. So yeah, thank you for noting that.
Amazing. So, okay, so I have a bunch of questions here, and it's like, I don't know. What does becoming a published author mean to you? That's one question I have for you. And another one is, what did you learn about yourself through this process?
Those are great questions. This is so fascinating. If I could share this story, because I feel it's really pertinent to the conversation. I was sitting at the table one day getting a bunch of work done, and this message popped up that there was a meeting with my mentor at the time, Vanessa Ferraro, who is she is the founder of co-founder of Soulfully Aligned Publishing, who is publishing our books. Thank you very much. And I thought, oh, this is about business and there's going to be some wisdom. I'll jump in. I have a free minute. So I jumped into this meeting, and it was the Q&A for this book. And I was like, well, how in the hell did I end up in here? I was just like, okay. So I sat and I listened, and I was just, I don't know, nothing in me said like, okay, go on and do your work. I was guided very strongly to stay in that meeting. And I stayed, and then the name of the book was announced. And it was like, right, guttural, feeling, visceral, just, this is where my story is to be told. This is why I'm here. And I got off that call, and I had scheduled a call with you, and I reached out to my husband and talked to him about all of this. And I sat with it for a while, and then I remembered in June 15th, 2021,
Yeah.
I wrote a letter to the universe, writing down 25 goals or things that I would like to accomplish in the next 20 years. 20 years, right? Number 17 was write a book.
Wow.
What?
Wow. Wow.
So I was like, wow, this opportunity is presenting itself right here, right now. This is absolutely what I'm supposed to do. And I never saw myself as an author. And as I shared in a previous post on social earlier this week, I was called by the librarian at my elementary school, a brunette with blonde brain cells. I mean, take that for whatever you want to call it. But the way that I took it was like, I didn't have half a brain, right? That was kind of how I grew up. Like, I could never, I'm not smart, you know, all those negative thoughts,
Right.
and the
Of course.
conditioning that comes through. And it was from the librarian. So of all people, right? And I love books. I mean, put me in a used bookstore and I am like a kid in a candy store. I just, the feel of books, I love holding them. I love the knowledge that they bring. They're just amazing and beautiful. And in fact, when we were downsizing, that was something that I was having to release, because books are heavy and they take up a lot of space.
Yeah.
And so I had to really sit with what books bring me the most joy. And those are the books that I kept. And I'm still collecting more and more, of course. Like, as I released, it opens up a space for new ones to come in. And so now that this is, you know, the hardest part really, I feel, is behind me, of getting my chapter down on paper and moving into the space of becoming a published author this week. It really means to me that I'm braver than I ever thought that I was. And this is possible truly for anybody that feels they have a story that needs to be told. You hear so many people say, you know, if I can do it, you can do it. And you look at them in that, you know, within their success, and you're like, well, of course you can do it. You have this, and you have this title, and you're that, and all these things. And if I could just be honest for a moment, I'm a little girl from a little town in Little Minnesota that came out and wrote her story and is sharing it with the world. So it truly is real.
Yeah.
This can happen for you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You
Absolutely.
had a second question. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
Maybe
No. And I'm going to ask you, but I just want to, like, you know, anybody, you know, people get daunted by, oh my gosh, writing a book, writing a chapter. Where do I start? Where do I begin? Is my story good enough? You know, who would want to listen? Who would want to read? And where is it going to take me? And a lot of people, like you said, have all these accolades, and they're, you know, this person, like you know, you have your podcast, you have this, you have that. And it's like, yeah, sure, it's easy. When I wrote my book, I had a jewelry business and was a mom, and wrote my book, told my story, and now I'm here supporting others on their journey to sharing their story, stepping into their purpose, and really shining the light on what they are gifted with,
It's so
which is
beautiful.
their experience and their, pain, and here moving on to using it to support others. So I can't talk enough about it's the experience of writing it and getting clear on everything that you've been through and everything you're ready for
Mm-hmm.
is such a magical thing to witness for everybody. So yeah, thank you for bringing that part up too. It's just such an honor,
Thank
honestly.
you.
And so the other question was, what did you learn about yourself during the writing process?
It's a great question. What I learned most, and this isn't necessarily about myself, but it's correlated, right? Is to trust.
Oh.
It's trusting the process, it's trusting yourself, it's trusting that you're being divinely guided. That was how my story was written. I would do a meditation and I'd write a section, and I wrote it by hand because our heart is directly connected to our hands. And so using that meridian line and that energy to really put what was necessary down on paper was very important to me, even though I knew I was doubling my work.
Yeah.
Because then what happened is when I translated that to the computer, what came through, it was tweaked in just a way that the words were perfect, right? And that was absolutely the biggest thing, was to hold on to the trust, even when, I mean, we talked about this in our group sessions with the other authors. And I'm sure you felt this when you wrote your book, as well as every other author out there. You read it and you reread it and you think, oh my gosh. And then you send it to the editor and you're like, I want to scratch the whole chapter and I want to start over from the beginning and write a totally different story. But it's like, stay rooted in the trust. And that's really like what I'm carrying with me, especially now as we're moving into 2022.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's trusting. Trusting is a huge thing, especially when you're being creative, especially when, there's so many other people being creative and so many other people doing this thing. And you're like, oh my goodness, how am I going to even compare? But, you have to really trust. That was also something that was very difficult for me, is trusting. And another thing that I love that you mentioned is to write with your hand. I always recommend, and that's why the worksheets always come. I say, print them, write them, print them again, rewrite it, because you are unlocking the portal when you write. And like you were saying, and then you transfer it into the paper, and then the flow come into the computer, and then you flow. But when you use your hand to write your story, I see Naomi Cohen here writing her lyrics, anything that you have, you're translating from your heart out into the world using your hand is such a powerful way to share it. And then again, well, it doubles the work, but for some reason, starting on the computer just takes away that intimacy and that flow, that energetic flow.
Absolutely. And this story is very intimate. This is a story I've never shared publicly. And I'm a very open book. A lot of people know a lot of things about me. And so when this story came out, that this is the one that I was to share in this book, you're right. It's intimate and it's personal and it's very deep. And the wounds were very deep. And the wisdom that came from those wounds also very profound. So yeah.
Aww. Look, we have Daniel, one of our authors from Where the Sacred Masculine Rising. Big up to the goddesses.
Yes,
because he knows. We're about to launch, Daniel.
Look at all
We're
those
just
cards.
days
away.
Yay!
Love it.
So exciting, so exciting. Thank you, Rachel. Honestly, I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, I can't believe this is over. Again, I just love, 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 love having conversation with you, sharing with you. You are such a powerhouse, such a space that, a person that holds so much space for everyone to truly share and be authentic when they share. And I really appreciate that. Honestly, you don't do much. You just are there. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your contribution in the group. Everyone had their magic space that they shared in support of the process, and you had yours, and it was amazing to have you and an absolute honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your time. I know you're super busy and have a lot going on. So thank you for sharing your half an hour with us. There's Falak now and Tina. Thank you everyone for
Yeah.
coming.
Well, thank you, Sandra. I do have to please, before we sign off here, I would love to express my gratitude to, of course, Rosa, who does so much behind the scenes. She is absolutely incredible. To yourself, Sandra, for guiding us through so lovingly. Really, you brought us together. It was funny, as us 9 authors were in the room. If you ever had to leave to go get something, we were like kids in a classroom, like chatting, and then you'd come back. We were like, we're ready. But that offered us this really beautiful opportunity to connect on such a heart, soul, mind level with each other that we were all connected. We were all brought to this project for a reason, because we were already connected. And this is even more so. And we are even more so connected as well. And of course, a huge gratitude to the other 8 authors that said yes to themselves to share their stories, and to Vanessa Ferraro, the co-founder of Soulfully Aligned
Yes.
Publishing. And yeah, I'm just so grateful. And to everybody that's going to have this book in their hands, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. So thank you. Yes, I
Yes.
appreciate your time as well. And I'm so very grateful.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Our celebration, our event, our launch is on the 16th. Look here on my feed, and everybody else, please follow Rachel. I'll tag her here. And yes, join us. Come buy the book. Come be part of this incredible launch. We're so, so excited. Thank you. If you have any questions about Soulfully Aligned Publishing or questions about writing your book, please go to the link in my bio and yeah, share your story. It's
Yeah.
powerful. Mwah. So much love for
Bye.
you.
Thank
See you
you. Thank
tonight.
you. Yes. Yay.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.